Hey, geez, welcome back to E3. We're still at Konami here, and I'm with Brandon Cox, Media Relations at Konami, and we're going to talk a little bit about Silent Hill Downpour. First of all, though, Brandon, thank you for spending time with us, my man.
Thanks for coming by. We appreciate it.
Tell me a little bit about Silent Hill Downpour.
Cool. So Silent Hill Downpour is the latest iteration of the Silent Hill franchise. The storyline is unique only to itself. Doesn't play to any of the other Silent Hill games, so that's something you can expect. But it's still keeping some of the DNA of some of the other games of the city. So it's going to be very scary, very creepy, very much about exploration, very much about finding the inner demons within the people within Silent Hill.
Now, one of the big things here, as we can tell from the subtitle, is water is going to be playing a more significant role in the game than previously. Maybe you can expound on that for me.
Yeah, so as everyone knows, water is one of the most innovative and destructive forces in the world. It can give you life. It can also take your life. We use water in Silent Hill to be very subtle and give you hints of when you might and might not be in dream sequence or nightmare sequence or in the real world. So water could be an ominous sign or it could be a sign of promise throughout the whole game.
Now, tell me a little bit about Pendleton here, our protagonist. He's a bit more physically capable than previous protagonists, sort of like Alex Shepard back in Homecoming. How is that going to affect combat, considering previous games in the title?
So you play as Murphy Pendleton, and what happens is Murphy's on a prison transport bus. Transport bus crashes, he gets in a coma, come to, and he's in Silent Hill. So the rest of the narrative takes place as he's wandering in Silent Hill, trying to piece together the last events to how he wound up here. He is an ex-convict, and he is much more physically capable to fight, unlike maybe a Harry Mason, who maybe a little bit more helpless. So you will have a lot more combat, a new enhanced combat system, and we have destructible items within the environment. Crowbar, chairs, guns. So you'll have a whole host of weapons in your inventory to use to fight off. But also keep in mind, you're always outnumbered in Silent Hill. So sometimes the smartest thing to do isn't fight. Sometimes the smartest thing to do is run. So it's always a balance of what type of game you want to play, how strategic you want to be as well.
Now, anyone familiar with Silent Hill will know that there are two realms in which you predominantly spend most of your time: the foggy overworld, and then the Silent Hill kind of other world where everything gets rusted over, bloody, and all that stuff. But those that have paid attention in the trailer may have seen a little bit of something more ethereal, something more otherworldly than either of those two universes, at least aesthetically different than those two universes. Anything you could tell me about that?
Can't give you too much, but the idea is to make it a seamless transition into whether you're in the real world or you're in the other world. And so look for certain signs, and as you play the game, you'll see some of these signs. And that's the whole point of the game is the real monster in Silent Hill is the city. And it's not so much about the monsters, it's about the people inside of Silent Hill and what's going on with them. And Silent Hill bringing out the evil in other people. And so the idea is to make that transition between the real world and the nightmare world almost seamless so that you don't know what's going on until it's too late.
Speaking about monsters, the real monster is the city, but often you're not really fighting the city. But
yes,
we will have returning monsters from previous games, but we have been told to expect new creatures that will come into contact with. Anything you can tell me about any new monsters we'll be tackling with?
So we've already talked a little bit about the Screamer, and the Screamer is a very, very, very hazy character. When you see her, she looks very much almost translucent. And her presence is there to give you a sense of not only fright, but also a sense of panic. Because by the time you hear the scream, it's too late. You're going to have to keep running. You're going to have to keep moving. And a lot of times you're going to be in positions or in rooms where you might not have a way out. And there's a lot more of them than there are of you. We'll have a lot of other monsters that we are going to be announcing in the coming months. But I can definitely tell you about the Screamer now.
Going back to the original Silent Hills and a bit beyond, Silent Hill Downpour tends to have a bit more of an open narrative than previous games. They were, despite having more open environments, they were still very linear. So yes. Downpour is not going to be so closed off this time.
Correct, absolutely. So you're going to have your linear storyline of Murphy Pendleton and finding his way through Silent Hill. But what you're also going to see is that the world has been expanded completely and very immersive. So you can do side missions and side quests and learn more about the town of Silent Hill, learn more about the supporting characters within the Silent Hill environment, and also more about yourself. So there's a lot of other different ways you can play the game besides the linear storyline. So we also have more stuff. Silent Hill is a busy year for us. We also have Silent Hill HD Collections, which is Silent Hill 2 and 3 from PS2, ported over to PlayStation 3. remastered with new environments, a couple of new things that you can expect, and also new voiceover work. As well as we have Silent Hill Book of Memories, which is coming to PlayStation Vita, which is going to be a new Silent Hill in itself with a new storyline too.
All right, well then, when can we expect Downpour to come out, and what can we play it on?
Silent Hill Downpour will be out this fall on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much for your time. For all the rest of EG's amazing and extensive E3 coverage, head on over to elder-geek.com.